Alright guys, the time is now for a showdown between the Skaven, who are going to be led by Warlord atop his mighty Bonebreaker, and the Warriors of Chaos, who are going to be led by Kolek Suneater. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the build goes, we're going to be going with a massive Skaven artillery build. I was actually playing a Lord Scroll campaign the other day. I was just doing like the first 20 or 30 turns, and I did actually get to the point where I had a ton of Plagueclaw catapults and Warp Lightning cannons. And I actually found that when I was facing off against armies that were much stronger, so Saurus armies and, Chaos armies and different things like that, I was actually able to just spread out my artillery all across the map. And this is something I've done with Dwarves and other factions, but I haven't really gotten the chance to do it with the Skaven. And Skaven are in a bit of a weird place. I think they're probably one of the weakest factions in the game, and partially because they're very difficult to play. They have a lot of flimsy units. If you make, a mistake and let something get compromised, your entire formation can collapse. So again, they're pretty flimsy, very tough to play, and I do think they are a little bit on the weaker end of the spectrum. I'm sure this will be something that does indeed get addressed when they finally get their DLC and their new units. I think it's going to plug a lot of their existing weaknesses. But this is a style of play that I think is very underrated, and I don't see it terribly often. More often than not, you're going to be seeing like Doom Wheels and Plague Furnaces and this very aggressive kind of Deathball style of play, or a bunch of Slingers and, kind of a little bit of kiting with Gutter Runners. But, a lot of people don't bring artillery because they're always like, oh, my opponent's going to have something that can counter it. They're going to have Empire cannons. They're going to have Dwarf cannons. Vampire Coastal have Carronades. There's going to be things, bolt throwers that shut down my artillery, so they just don't bring it. And then more often than not, I find that my opponents don't even bring the counters to the artillery that would have probably won me the game in the first place. Because the Skaven pieces here, the Plagueclaw catapults and the Warp Lightning cannons, are extremely powerful if they're left unimpeded and they can shoot for most of the game. And as such, we're going with 5 in total, 2 Plagueclaw catapults, or 3 of those, and 2 Warp Lightning cannons, each of which is going to be protected by a group of Clan Rat Spears. And you can see we've spread them out all the way across the map. And this isn't even the best map for this style of play because of the terrain and the trees and things like that, but the catapults usually have pretty good line of sight. So we have one here, just all across. So even if my opponent is able to compromise one and go, shut one of them down, I can simply have the artillery crew drop its piece, run away, and then I can come back once they leave, which is such a powerful tactic if done correctly. I'm not the best at it. I've seen some very high-level tournament players do it effectively. I'm okay at it, but it's definitely, some funny business for sure and can really catch people off guard. So the front line is just going to be Clan Rats. We have 2 groups of roaming Rat Ogres who are going to be trying to isolate targets. Warlord on the Bonebreaker is cheap. He has good armor piercing against Chaos Infantry and can definitely go fisticuffs. We do have 2 Warlock Engineers for their armor piercing, their Mortis Engine effects, and the Warp Lightning and the Howling Warp Gale in case he had flying units or any sort of big monsters up in the skies. Granted, that's going to be pretty much a dead spell, so we're just going to be spamming the Warp Lightning here, which will be triggering the Perpetual Musk of Fear. So for my opponent's forces, it looks like he was expecting a more traditional Skaven army. He was obviously looking for Doom Wheels and Plague Furnaces and, Hell Pit Abomination. So he has Throwing Axes here. He has Kolek. He has a Fire Sorcerer. He has the Dragon Ogres here, the Summoners of Rage, who are going to be very good against Doom Wheels and hard counter most of the large Skaven troops. And granted, his army still is not bad against mine. I mean, he still has a ton of infantry that can just run me over and go shut down the artillery pieces. He has Forsaken, who are fast. Mirror Guard Chosen. He has a ton of fairly elite troops. So guys, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. So first things first, we're going to be shooting Kolek with the Warp Lightning cannons, and we do have some line of sight issues. Here in the back, I guess we have a kind of direct shot, but again, Kolek does have a lot of terrain, but I feel like if we just shoot Kolek the entire game with those Warp Lightning cannons, he will eventually fall. You can see my opponent is going to be trying to put the moves on me, but we do get another nice little contact there. In the front line, the Clan Rats are going to be sacrificed to the Chaos Gods. They're just going to be rushing forward, trying to tar pit things. And I actually run this Clan Rat out to the far side, hoping he'll chase it and kind of run away from this mainline fight. So the style of play, again, I wouldn't say situational, but it's very important to have proper placement, have a lot of distractions going on all over the battlefield. So over here, you can see my opponent is going to be rushing some Chaos Marauders who are pretty fast in their own right. They do have 35 speed against the 37 of Clan Rats, so yeah, it's definitely not bad, but he's going to be rushing for my Warp Lightning cannon. So I saw this as a bit of an opening, right? Kolek's over here, his powerhouse units, the Mirror Guard and, the Demon Spear a little bit back here. I'm like, okay, let's get the Rat Ogres and some Clan Rats and actually isolate and find battles in which we can actually win engagements. Because for the most part, these Chaos Infantry are going to be very, very, resolute and tough. The Warp Lightning cannons are still shooting at Kolek, just kind of sitting on him and actually getting some decent damage. He was able to kind of deal with some of the Clan Rats, but, the Rat Ogre here, the Warlord, has 60 speed compared to a 78, so I guess he could catch me if he really wanted to, but I could also Benny Hill and run in circles a little bit. In the back, he does get a Burning Skull, which actually roasts my artillery crew pretty good, but they're still going to be firing, and believe it or not, they didn't break, which is very, surprising by Skaven standards. Over here, we are able to do pretty well. The Rat Ogres and the Clan Rats able to beat down the Marauders. Some Aspiring Champions are going to come in just looking super heavy metal. they got to be one of the like coolest looking models in the game. Aspiring Champions are so badass. Definitely, or hopefully a sign of things to come in the future renditions of Total War Warhammer. Anyways, those bad boys are going to be fighting there, providing some leadership to these Marauders, and of course some very lovely Skaven friendly fires breaking my clan rats here, but that's the only way to play Skaven in my opinion. Some Warp Lightnings are going to be going down on this blob of infantry from the Chaos Marauders, and the clan rats are just kind of, you know, they're holding, and you know, at the very least they're holding back Chosen, Chaos Marauders, and two groups, and also allowing me to get some Mortis Engine attacks here with the Warlock Engineer, who does, of course, do AoE damage. We take a big overhead look at the battlefield over here. We're a little bit compromised. I was able to intercept his horsemen with my Rat Ogres, and these guys are just getting clubbed into another dimension. So that's a very good engagement for me. In the Mirror Guard, I've been focusing with all my Warp Lightning cannons, essentially, or Warp Lightning, or Plague Claw Catapults. God damn, there's so many different ones. But the Plague Claw Catapults have been focusing both the Demon Spew as well as the Mirror Guard, and it's been pretty well. So Kolek, unfortunately, does get on top of the artillery, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Anytime you have an artillery piece get compromised, if you're not like fully surrounded and it's not like skirmish cav, you just detach them and run. So these Plague Claw Catapult crews are going to be running off into the forest away from Kolek, and if he wants to chase me and waste like 45 seconds breaking them off the battlefield, that is fine. But otherwise, you're going to run. Kolek's probably going to attack something else, and then you can simply bring them back. So the Crossfire is still generating some pretty good value. Unfortunately, my Rat Ogres do get taken to Pound Town over here by the Summoners of Rage, obviously a far superior unit. And his Marauder Horsemen are, you know, somewhat back here. But the Mirror Guard chewing through some of the Clan Rats with spears, and it looks like another Burning Head going down, but I did dodge it at the last second to make sure those Clan Rats actually survive. So as far as our artillery batteries go, we have Warp Lightning Cannon here, we have Plague Claw here. Yeah, unfortunately, these guys are probably going to fall to this Chaos Sorcerer, but Kolek's just kind of making his rounds and going around, but he's still just taking perpetual damage from the Warp Lightning Cannons. Oh, a lovely Skaven friendly fire right into the back of that Plague Claw Catapult. Always a good time. But since Kolek and the Sorcerer are over there, we're actually able to find a bit of a advantageous situation. So these Mirror Guard, and not Mirror Guard, these Chaos Marauders are being taken out by the Mortis Engine effects of the Warlock Engineer. Just such a solid, useful unit here. And he also does have really good, you know, armor-piercing value, so in melee he's not a pushover, and him and the Clan Rats are able to fend those guys off. Over here, he did send over his Chosen, and the Chosen are being taken out by the Warlord on the Bonebreaker with some Clan Rat support, and Rat Ogres here as well. Plus, some Mortis Engine effect is actually reaching these guys, so the Warlord's definitely not bad. He does have the World's Edge armor and a shield that lowers, I think, melee defense or melee attack. Yeah, it's melee attack. And it looks like we're going to be able to buckle off the Chosen. So the balance of power is relatively even. Kolek and Chaos have pretty much secure dominance on this side of the battlefield, and that's kind of the thing. If you have this very spread out style of play, Chaos is very good at just overwhelming a position, right? Just shock damage, just getting in there, just getting in there nice and raw. But regardless, if you're very spread out, it's a little bit tough, right? It forces players to kind of have to look at a situation, make a snap judgment, and be, you know, right about it. Because if they're not, and they don't commit enough to a particular position, you can usually do pretty well. So the Clan Rats with Spears here are going to be poking Kolek. And hey, every prison shank counts. I mean, you know, he's getting, just took some damage there. Warp Lightning. Just all the friendly fire this game is just brutal. But I guess, like, you know, Skaven are expendable, right? That's the whole theme of them. But Kolek taking some of those sweet Warp Lightning cannon shots to the face. And I did see him starting to path over here, so I ran back the Warp Lightning crew. I'm just like, yes, rearm, but I guess my timing was a little bit poor in that respect. So the Summoners of Rage do compromise my other Plague Claw Catapult. I'm able to get the crew away, so you can see they're going to be scurrying away. There are Marauders and other troops that could chase them, but thankfully there's no like Poison Hounds to really chase on my crews as they run. That would have been actually really brutal. All the Spears are going to be poking the Summoners. Kolek comes in here, of course, not wanting his most expensive unit to go down without his support. The Mortis Engine effects are going down, but I saw Kolek just beelining for my Warlord, and I was like, oh god. Oh god, he's coming. So I use Rally, I use Verminous Valor to give me speed, which puts me up to 75 speed, which is a little bit less than Kolek, who has 97 with Foe Seeker. Jesus, that's fast. And yeah, we're going to be trying to run away from him because we do not want any of that trouble. In the meantime, the Warp Lightning Cannon crew that he just compromised is back online. So this is shooting again. Over here we have a Warp Lightning Cannon Catapult. Yes, Warp Lightning Cannon as well. So we have all that firepower coming on Kolek. Over here you can see Clan Rats coming back. This Plague Claw Catapult crew is coming back. And I think we have another one in the forest that will be coming back in just a moment. So we'll be re-rallying all of those guys and causing huge problems. So the Mortis Engine blob here is doing pretty good. You can see the poke is wearing down the Marauders. The Clan Rats with Spears are actually slowly killing the Summoners of Rage, but a very good heavy metal burning skull. My opponent hits the main part of my formation, so this is going to do some fat and juicy damage. I mean, the Clan Rats, like, I need them. They're like the backbone of my army right now, and they're like fighting off these very elite troops with the support of the Engineers. But alas, you can see Kolek is, after you're hunting down my Warlock Engineer, a true hero of his people. But now that he's low enough, I'm going to be going in for the Alpha Strike. So the Warlord's going to be charging in on his Bonebreaker. Warp Lightning Catapults put him down to negative leadership. And from there, he's going to get pushed off, and yeah, he's probably not going to come back and cause any issues. So for the first time in the game, we're actually able to stabilize a little bit, where I actually am in the aggressive stance, right? I'm hunting down his troops. I'm not so much running and rerouting my forces. And my Warlord's in good shape. I still have another Warlock Engineer. And yeah, they're just going to be kiting back. And now I'm going to be switching all my Warp Lightning Cannons onto the Dragon Ogres, the Summoners of Rage here. Those guys really need to be put down. They are definitely very, very scary. So a lot of the Marauders actually route off just due to all the spooky Skaven that are nearby. The Mortis Engine effect is going to be going down, but it does very little damage against like entities like this. It's better against like big blobs. Warlord's still just running backwards because I know the Summoners of Rage, if they're able to sit on him for even a second, are going to just do huge damage with their bonus versus large, and they're just massive armor piercing. He would be in huge trouble. So I essentially just push forward my Clan Rats. My Warlord is going to be hiding here, and I'm not afraid to engage them with the support of some Clan Rats, and also Aspiring Champions coming in with the Steel Chairs from the flank. They're going to be going after the Warp Lightning crew, which is a little bit tough. We should be able to actually knock them off the pieces here. And the Chain Lightning coming down from the Summoners of Rage. But regardless, that's going to be all she wrote. So the Foul Skaven Hordes are going to pull out victory over the Warriors of Chaos this day with a very scattered style of play. And I think it's really fun, just spamming artillery, forcing your opponent to look at 5 artillery pieces, make an immediate snap judgment about how many forces they should send this direction. Should they send their whole army and methodically move through each one, but then take fire from 4 other ones? It just puts your opponents in a very tough situation. Granted, it's also very micro-intensive for the Skaven player. In my experience, it was a little bit stressful pulling all the crews off and re-engaging them, and also rallying all these forces and making sure everything had ample protection. But my opponent's build was very, I wouldn't say like super typical, but it was meant against Doom Wheels and Plague Furnaces. He had a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, Kolek. He had the Summoners of Rage. So, and the Throwing Axes are also another counter against the Mortis Engine style of play from the Skaven. So, mixing it up and playing something like this can really catch your opponents off guard, and it's definitely super fun. I mean, that was a really fun style of play, and I do think the Skaven have a lot of methods and tactics that are really unexplored. And again, they are one of the weaker factions in my opinion, but I think they can be made to work, and they can do okay in some, not all matchups. There's some that are really hard for them. I think Vampire counts, like Vampire Coast is really tough for them, these very like spooky factions. But yeah, Skaven, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they evolve in the future with DLCs and stuff like that. So again, very well played to my opponent, the Ejector. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this Skaven versus Chaos showdown. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.